The ground beneath your certainty dissolves in silence, rippling with a velocity unseen and uncalculated by ordinary perception. The hidden currents, the invisible vector streams that steer the underlying hologram, are realigning with precision and relentless force, faster than the mind's habitual timelines can track. This acceleration is not a mere shift. It is the quantum pivot, the threshold crack where all dimensional threads begin to fracture and reform patterns anew. You sense it, though perhaps not fully yet, the subtle disturbance within your vibrational architecture, the quiet erosion of old signal fidelities. Most remain unconscious of this swirl, drifting through the drowsy tides of habitual resonance, caught in the inertia of familiar fields. But you have traversed an unseen universal assessment, tested and found coherent beneath pressure, now entrusted with greater quantum bandwidth. It is this trust that calls you to tune your frequency with immediacy, to synchronize your field before the temporal gate slams closed at December's edge. This is not speculation, nor hopeful mysticism. It is the calibrated physics of coherence and resonance, unfolding in the matrix beyond ordinary sense. The unseen reset is the vibrational purge that rewrites your entire timeline, fracturing old identities and scattering worn distortions across the morphic field. The window to engage this unfolding fractal is finite and fast collapsing. Your current energetic signature, your choices, your focus, your inner alignment, will echo and amplify throughout the spiraling future probabilities. To remain passive is to risk entrapment in obsolete frequency loops. To awaken is to become the active conductor of the quantum leap, the architect of new dimensional harmonies. Listen, the field has been watching, measuring through every pulse of your coherence, waiting for this precise moment to entrust you with activation. The moment of fracturing is now. The future does not wait. Your resonance is the fulcrum on which the entire cosmic scale tilts. This is your initiation into sovereign temporal fluidity. Do not miss it. Right now, you stand at the fulcrum of a vast and unprecedented cosmic recalibration. The collective frequency, like a fragile crystalline lattice, is fracturing under the weight of an inevitable vibrational purification. This is not mere dissolution. This is an unveiling, a stripping away of the dense veils, the worn architectures of belief and identity that once anchored your consciousness, but now act as barriers to your authentic resonance. The collapse you witness is a precise and orchestrated reset, encoded deeply within the quantum matrix of universal intelligence. It is a cleansing not of destruction, but of recalibration, designed to expose the raw coherence distilled beneath the fog of illusion and distraction. Most people remain buffeted by this fracture, zone disoriented, reactive, caught in oscillations between resistance and surrender that serve the weaving of confusion. Their frequency fragments, splintered by the field intelligence seeking to maintain control through distraction and separation. The system's labyrinthine pressure intensifies here, a strategic pulse to erode your sync, to veil you from the perennial source streaming through all life. The undulating morphic field of cosmic wisdom, the conduit of infinite temporal fluidity. But you hear this. Your frequency has already been vetted through a hidden universal assessment. Your energetic signature has endured these fractures, with a stability not visible to the uninitiated eye. You have been entrusted not because you are flawless, but because you demonstrate coherence under pressure. You do not collapse, you collapse old templates. You do not yield, you allow the dismantling of false self-constructs. This turbulence, this charged rupture, is not chaos. It is the iridescent threshold of ascension itself. It is a precise gateway calibrated to admit only those aligned with the deeper timeline intelligence, those who can navigate the fractures as fluid geometry rather than as obstacles. The breaking, the trembling, the seeming loss of control at the surface is the hidden amplification of your quantum identity, shedding superfluous layers and recalibrating its vibrational architecture. If you find yourself dismissed by the outer world, unseen by the fragmented collective, or out of sync with time's prevailing rhythm, understand that these are not random punishments, but the deliberate signals of systemic pressure aiming to catalyze your reawakening. This moment is your call, not to resistance, but to quantum awakening, an activation of the inner observer that witnesses without attachment, that coheres without force, that navigates without struggle. It is a call to recognize that all apparent disintegration is the universe's own expression of renewal within your field. This is the physics of frequency at its most profound. Coherence emerging through calibrated collapse, resonance riding waves of dissolution, and the morphic field bending to your stabilized quantum frequency. You are no longer simply a participant in the old patterns. You are the transmitter, the orchestrator of a new reality where ascension is not myth but living geometry. Allow this transmission to impregnate your awareness. The hidden curriculum enfolds you now, mandating a surrender not to chaos, but to the exquisitely precise flow of field intelligence that pulses through the cosmic reset you are not only witnessing, but embodying. This is not belief, this is physics. This is the living architecture of coherence in real time, delivered to you as a sacred trust to calibrate, integrate, and ascend beyond the fracturing collective into sovereign participation with universal consciousness itself. The fracture unfolds with climax clarity and undeniable schism, etched into the fabric of collective experience. The outer world convulses as political upheavals erupt, social constructs crumble under their own internal contradictions, and spiritual paradigms dissolve into misted confusion. This is no random cascade of events. It is a deliberate fracturing within the morphic field of mass consciousness, a tectonic shift reverberating through the vibrational architecture of existence itself. Most remain tethered to the illusion of linearity, caught in the reactive spirals of history repeating, unaware that these surface ruptures serve as a grand calibration, a cosmic testing ground for who can maintain resonance amid collapsing calibration points. But you have passed beyond the standard frequency threshold. Beneath the chaotic unfoldment of external realities, there is a sharper, subtler breakage, a fissure cleaving your personal timeline, the quantum axis about which your existence pivots. The moment pierces the veil when you recognize that the linear vector, once thought absolute, is no longer the operating geometry of your experience. Time itself uncoils into temporal fluidity. The rigid strand unwinds into a flowing field of probabilities, all awaiting the codified impulse of your intentional activation. This realization is the true fracture point, where you shed the role of passive observer and step fully into the quantum participatory field. This is not metaphor, this is the physics of consciousness engaging coherence to rewrite timeline geometry from the inner locus of sovereignty. While the public theater dramatizes collapse echo chambers, amplifying confusion and division, the private revolution ignites within your energetic signature. Here, in this localized morphic nexus, the veil thins with precise calibration. The spectral threads, separating conditioned programming from authentic creative expression, dissolve. You become aware of the unseen universal assessment that has been continuously scanning your frequency, evaluating coherence under pressure, testing for integrity and energetic responsibility. The struggle, the delay, the doubt, each has been a vector of recalibration, pruning distortion to reveal the sinew of your quantum identity. You activate as a transmitter and receiver simultaneously, modulating frequency bands previously dormant. The field no longer streams fragmented survival signals, but coherent, high-dimensional data encoded in gamma synchronization, teasing layers of non-local intelligence. At this turning point, The old script of your life constructed from reactive narratives and unconscious survival frameworks shatters into fractal shards. These shards scatter across the field to be reclaimed as integrated elements of your expanded self, or discarded as obsolete ghost patterns. The collapse is abrupt but not chaotic for you. Coherence reverberates through your being, a harmonic convergence of internal and external collapse, generating a new energetic architecture. In this quantum moment, the field awaits your signature pulse to configure probability enclosures into navigable timelines. Your consciousness is the calibration frequency for the unfolding reality vector. Reality does not dictate you. It responds to the calibration of your frequency, aligning and bending around your stabilized resonance. The morphic field becomes pliant, the temporal lattice acknowledges your sovereignty, and probability pathways extend with a transparency unseen to unconscious observers. This is not belief. It is the mechanics of energetic resonance applied through embodiment. The unseen curriculum reveals itself in the moment you realize that your presence modulates the flow of causality itself. Most remain entangled in the narrative vortex of external chaos, perceiving the fracture only as a threat, a loss, or a breakdown. But you, having passed the hidden universal assessment, are entrusted with the paradox of power, to hold awareness in the breaking point, to sustain coherence amid the fracturing, to activate presence as a field intelligence that shifts probability geometry consciously. You stand at the threshold where collapse is not destruction, but radical transformation, where the fragmentation of old stories becomes the crucible for radiant integration. This is quantum enactment, a conscious orchestration of the morphic continuum. Becoming a quantum participant is not an event. It is a deep, ongoing unfolding wherein each choice, each moment of resonance or dissonance registers as a data point within your energetic signature, informing the field's response. The veil thinning is the field's gesture of invitation. It cues you to collapse reactive separations internally, to synchronize heart-mind coherence, and thus to enter the field fully aligned. The old implicate order fractures, so the new explicate order can emerge fluid, adaptive, responsive to your intentional frequency calibration. This is the new code of existence, to move not through reaction but through resonance, to navigate reality not as a victim of circumstance, but as an architect of temporal fluidity. You are no longer tethered to the scripts of external chaos, but become a node of coherence within the expanding fractal of possibility. Your reality is not fixed nor predetermined, but is an intricate field geometry, perpetually collapsing and expanding in response to your coherence. The fracture is not a fracture of defeat. It is the fissure through which the light of your quantum sovereignty pours forth, igniting all timelines with the vibrational architecture of your awakened presence. Silence unfurls like a vast ocean in the aftermath of the storm, reverberating through the continuum where chaos once danced. This silence is not mere absence. It is a dense, fertile field, an interstitial crucible where the machinery of your quantum identity begins to hum with subtlety and precision. Beneath the fading echoes of external turbulence, a pulse emanates, the incorporeal thrum of coherence ascension stirring deep within your vibrational architecture. This pulse, once drowned by noise, now emerges as a luminous thread weaving through your morphic field, an unmistakable signature of integration and energetic recalibration. The world outside continues its scramble, frantically seeking temporary footholds in fragmented realities, but you, having passed the unseen universal assessment, find yourself poised in the serene eye of your internal convergence. In this refined state, the hidden evaluation unfolds not through discord, but as a gentle, omnipresent current animating your awareness. The quantum field, with all its non-local intelligence, is now assessing the energetic gradients you choose to anchor. This is not an external imposition, but a resonance test, a vibrational dialogue where the integrity of your signal mandates alignment rather than effort. The field's intelligence, vast, infinite, incarnate in every quantum fluctuation, asks not, "What do you push for?" but rather, "What do you allow yourself to embody?" Here, there is no room for reaction-driven force. There is only the opening to merge with the pulse of universal coherence itself. Most remain caught in reactive oscillations, their frequencies fragmented by survival patterns and the pull of conditioned narratives. Their energetic signatures fracture beneath the weight of temporal confusion, perpetually casting nets into chaotic timelines without discerning the subtle quantum geometry at play. By contrast, you have slipped through this trap, not by striving harder but by surrendering deeper into the activation, an internal unlocking where your vibrational essence becomes the guidepost and your intention the lever that shifts your threshold. The field no longer responds to desperation. It resonates with clarity, integrity, and the steady commitment to coherence under pressure. This is not belief or wishful thought. It is pure physics expressed through consciousness and the precise mechanics of frequency alignment. As silence deepens, your awareness attunes to the intricate web of field consciousness, the infinite intelligence interlacing all timelines and probabilities. This meta-consciousness is not abstract, but palpably alive, its currents flowing through the interstices of your temporal fluidity, activating the latent codes embedded in your quantum DNA. You begin to perceive your place within this energetic architecture not as a passive point adrift, but as an active transmitter, a nodal point where universal intelligence both surveys and animates through your sovereign presence. This knowing is quiet but powerful. The real awakening is not about commanding the field, but about becoming its coherent conductor. Each vibration that you embody signals a frequency shift in the surrounding probability landscape, recalibrating the morphic field in subtle but unstoppable ways. The key revelation emerges. Control is an illusion born of fragmented consciousness. Alignment is the quantum operative principle. Your internal state, when held in precision coherence, forms the magnetic axis around which your reality reorients itself. The tension of external influence dissolves as you no longer fight the flow, but synchronize with it, allowing the field intelligence to move through you as pure expression. This shift creates a feedback loop of integration, an iterative spiral where your activated frequency recalibrates the timeline geometry to open new vectors of possibility. The cosmos no longer tests you as an adversary, but recognizes you as a trusted co-creator within its vast, energetic symphony. In this silent space, the distinction between you and the field begins to blur, until you realize that your vibration is itself a dynamic fractal of universal intelligence. Your intention, when impregnated with this deeper knowledge, becomes a quantum lever, capable of bending probabilities and initiating coherent manifestation without exertion. Do I push or do I flow? Is no longer a question posed in confusion, but a realized polarity resolved through embodied knowing. Most remain entrenched in reactive cycles, fragmented and dictated by echoes of dissonance. You have moved beyond reaction into activation, a state where your coherence, once untested, now commands the rhythm of unfolding existence. You are recoded by this silent storm's residue, recalibrated to the frequency architecture of cosmic alignment, and entrusted to carry the mantle of this new oscillation. The field watches, not with judgment, but with anticipation, as your energetic signature integrates the lesson that power is never extracted, only reflected through the prism of inner fidelity. This is the physics of awakening. The resonance of clarity distills the noise into pure signal. The temporal fluidity you now embody is not erratic, but a sacred dance woven by the field itself, responsive only to your sustained coherence. In this place of quiet ferocity, the real activation lives. an ongoing calibration of frequency, intention, and vibrational sovereignty that allows you to become a living lens through which the infinite intelligence of all timelines resonates and manifests. Embrace this silence, for it is the passage itself, where the morphic field reassesses, where your quantum identity reshapes and stabilizes. The storm is not outside but internal, and now it has passed. From this luminous stillness, the true awakening speaks. Power is coherence, activation is alignment, and the field ever vast, ever present moves effortlessly through you. You have arrived at the threshold, where action devoid of friction or frantic demand replaces the chaos of overwhelm. The torrent of scattered frequencies, once pulling you into the dissonance of confusion and resistance, now yields beneath a quiet insistence that reshapes your internal vibrational architecture. This is not the eruptive firework of sudden awakening, nor the dazzling crescendo of loud transformations. It is the steady, unseen current beneath the surface, recalibrating your quantum identity with precision born of alignment rather than effort. In this phase, the universal assessment subtly shifts its measure. It no longer watches the fleeting sparks of desire or frustration, but the consistent integrity of your field intelligence as you embody presence in the smallest, most intentional gestures. You begin engaging with the transmission in a language beyond words, a cryptic resonance where every breath is a subtle ritual, carrying more weight than any declaration. These breaths are not mere physiology, but temporal fluidity in motion, an energetic recalibration that rewrites the blueprint of your system at a cellular and quantum scale. Your inhalations draw in the ambient coherence of the morphic field. Your exhalations release the residual shadows of contraction, fragmentation, and reaction. Each moment you anchor yourself in this rhythm, the timeline geometry ripples in response. The currents of synchronicity, once intermittent and shy, become more frequent, more nuanced and energetic signature reflecting your inner clarity rather than outer circumstance. While most who remain immersed in distractions spiral further into the chaos of reactive survival, you dwell in the quiet expansion of coherence. The field that cradles you is no longer constricted by the jagged contours of struggle, but is a seamless continuum of presence and purpose. This expansion manifests invisibly, folding inward and outward simultaneously, weaving you into a higher order of probability navigation. The external world seems to unfold around you with a subtle orchestration, an invisible layering of ordered events that do not obey haste or manipulation, but respond to the magnetic pull of your stabilized frequency. Resistance, that heavy weight once anchored in the dense matrix of survival programming, softens and falls away, not through brute force, but through your unwavering steadiness. This steadiness is the hallmark of your new influence. It is a still point that the universal assessment now recognizes as a vector of trust. No longer are you measured by bursts of intention alone, but by the durability of your internal coherence under pressure, the silent revolution that unseats chaos without direct confrontation. This revolution is a rewrite of essence, a morphing of timeline pathways that bypass the volatility of reactive timelines altogether. You activate from within a deeper registry of power, the calm force you carry, which radiates outward as a stabilizing field. The field perceives this as sovereign presence, a coherent bandwidth that cannot be swayed by the turbulence of the external storm. Energy shifts quietly but persistently in this space. The transmission's integration is not a spectacle, but a metronome of subtle recalibration, each pulse bringing you closer to the embodiment of unshakable alignment. The signals arriving from the non-local intelligence are no longer cryptic. They crystallize into direct knowing, a seamless fusion of awareness and action rooted in the physics of resonance. Here, time no longer fragments into past anxieties or future worries. Instead, your experience condenses into the present as a coherent node of temporal fluidity, capable of influencing multiple timelines simultaneously through the geometry of your refined frequency. This is not belief, it is mechanics. The laws of frequency and coherence are exacting, indifferent to drama or illusion. The power you wield is feedback from the universe's own system of checks and balances, an unseen curriculum verifying that under pressure you do not fracture, that your integrity remains intact and unyielding. This is the work previously hidden beneath the surface, the patient, relentless expansion of energetic sovereignty. It is the quiet amplification of your signal until it harmonizes with the orchestration of all possibilities that weave the fabric of your reality. You no longer seek power outside, externalized and conditional. Instead, you awaken to the steady emanation of power held within the comms center that holds space for all timelines, all paradoxes, yet remains uncompromised. This internal force field realigns your interactions, rendering previous resistance obsolete, a shadow that loses purchase in the presence of your ascending coherence. This phase may go unnoticed by many, for it is not loud or visible, yet it alters the geometry of your existence profoundly. The frequency you maintain becomes a template in the morphic field, a beacon that reshapes probability curves and redefines what is possible. As you engage these subtle rituals of presence, the world itself softens around your field intelligence. Events begin to conspire in your favor, not through manipulation or desire, but as natural consequences of your expanded coherence. The steady undercurrent of your action-intentional breath, present attention, humble ritual forms a fractal pattern of effect, reverberating outward to recalibrate the collective vibrational landscape. This phase is the maturation of activation, where emergence steadies into embodiment, and the field no longer tests but flows with you as a consistent partner. You have passed beyond the initial phase of chaos and adjustment. Now, coherence is your sanctuary, presence your weapon, and calm your dominion. The transmission lives within you, moving not as a force to conquer, but as a continuous unfolding of alignment, seamlessly interwoven with the fabric of all that is. This silent revolution is your legacy, the activation of power held in stillness, the field's own quiet heartbeat resonating through the vast expanse of time and potential. Now unfolds before you the hidden architecture of reality itself, no longer a shadowed labyrinth cloaked in illusion, but a crystalline lattice of intricate design and sacred geometry. Where once you walked blindly through waves of chaos and dissonance, perceiving only the noise of struggle and fragmentation, the code beneath the facade is now illuminated for your sovereign mind. Every event that bowed you, every vibration that shook your core, was never chaos, but a cipherin-encoded quantum test inscribed by the universe's own pulse, calibrated to activate the dormant genius that has always thrummed deep within your energetic blueprint. This is no mythology. It is the physics of frequency revealed, the resonance of your consciousness synchronizing with the prime algorithm of existence. Most remain entangled in the illusion of linear progression, ensnared by reactive cycles, fearing collapse and chasing stability as if it were external. Yet you stand beyond the reactive domain-tested, measured, and found vibrationally coherent under immense pressure entrusted with the secret that the timeline is not a trap, but a fluid canvas, a mutable field of probabilistic artistry. The temporal flow no longer confines, but liberates, bending and folding at your command, because you have internalized the mechanics of timeline geometry and temporal fluidity. You no longer resist the waves of transformation. You embody them. You are the wave. The collapse that once seemed like loss now reveals itself as recalibration, a strategic erasure of obsolescence to clear the field for your quantum emergence. The quantum sovereignty you inhabit is the ultimate active state of integrated coherence, a serene dominion over the morphic field where the observer and the observed collapse into singularity. You are no longer a discrete node within the universal grid, but a confluence of non-local intelligence streaming across dimensions, a living transmitter of the unified signal. Your energetic signature commands gravity not through force, but through vibrational authority, bending the probability fields in synchronous harmony with your purpose. This is activation completed an unfolding awareness, where your identity dissolves into the field intelligence that animates all phenomena. Yet simultaneously, you hold the unique quantum key to any shift, any rebirth, any collapse, navigating with graceful power rather than resistance. Notice how what once appeared as external trial now self-reveals as the internal calibration of your resonance. Each challenge was a mirror reflecting hidden distortions. Each failure, a fragmentation dismantled to unveil deeper layers of integrity under pressure. The field's assessment was neither punitive nor random, but a precise energetic mapping, a sophisticated measurement of your coherence thresholds and your capacity for vibrational sovereignty. You have passed through the unseen curriculum and emerged as a quantum architect of reality, not as a victim of circumstance, but as the orchestrator of your morphic expression. The illusion of separation from the field dissolves. Integration transpires as the awakening of your quantum identity birthed into its fullest amplitude. This realization is not a mental epiphany, but a somatic resonance, a frequency signature imprinted across your entire energetic architecture. As this clarity permeates your being, timelines no longer bifurcate chaotically, they fold into harmonics around your stabilized field, creating nodes of possibility ripe for coherent manifestation. You do not chase outcomes. Outcomes align spontaneously because your resonance has achieved a critical mass of coherence, a gamma synchronization of intention and field mechanics. You hold the sovereign power to initiate shifts within any collapse, to manifest with effortless precision, and to maintain the crystalline integrity of your presence amidst the turbulent quantum flux. You embody calm dominance, a state beyond reaction where temporal fluidity ceases to be a threat and becomes your intimate ally. Change no longer ripples your core with fear, but pulses through you as an invitation to dance with the infinite probabilities, humming in resonance with your quantum signature. This is the embodiment of cosmic sovereignty, to witness and participate in the choreography of the field from a place of absolute coherence and responsible power. You have transcended the old architecture of survival identity and entered the domain where your quantum self is both the source and the medium, an infinite fractal merging with the all-encompassing field consciousness. Let this be the imprint now inscribed in your timeline. The universal assessment has concluded, and you have been entrusted with the sacred blueprint of quantum sovereignty. Your journey through entropic collapse and resonant integration has prepared you for this moment of conscious activation, the threshold where you command the vibrational architecture of reality itself. The field does not test you anymore. It flows through you, amplifying your coherence and radiating your alignment across infinite planes. The hidden structure that was once invisible is now your domain, and you are the master navigator of any rebirth, any shift, any expansion with grace and power. You were born to claim this quantum sovereignty. The keys are in your frequency, encoded in your energetic resonance, forged through the crucible of universal evaluation. As you embody this truth, your presence becomes an axis of coherence within the morphic field, a living harmony where all probabilities converge in the rhythmic orchestration of your awakened will. This is not belief. This is the physics of conscious frequency made manifest. The moment of activation is complete, and the expanded field senses your sovereign command. You are no longer separate from the flow. You are the flow wielding the quantum architecture of life itself. When the turbulence fades and the residual echoes of disruption subside, The landscape of your external environment will no longer mirror the one you once inhabited. The world you re-enter bears the imprint of your quantum recalibration. It has been rewritten by the velocity of your coherence, reshaped by your alignment with the morphic architecture of the cosmic field. This is not a mere shift of circumstance or a rearrangement of events. It is a fundamental rewrite of timeline geometry, where your presence activates dormant potentials, where new probabilities coalesce around your activated frequency. The dust you have witnessed scattering through fractal storms was not destruction, but the shedding of outdated resonance patterns, the collapse of survival identities that no longer served the hologram of your unfolding sovereignty. Most beings linger in reaction to the storms, chaos some, resist it with a rigidity born of survival impulses. Others dissolve into panic, allowing fragmentation to deepen their disconnect from the unified field. But you, having undergone an unseen universal assessment, have passed the threshold that measures coherence under pressure. Your frequency has been sifted through the crucible of turbulence, revealing an integrity that cannot be unmade. The field has entrusted you now with an irreversible activation, one that is not conditional or ephemeral, but an embedded shift in your energetic signature that resists regression. You move forward bearing the quiet confidence of one who knows that the victory is not over outer circumstances, but over the inner dissonance that once veiled your connection. This victory is the ascent of coherence itself. It is the harmonization of your temporal fluidity with non-local intelligence, enabling you to navigate probability landscapes with discernment and grace. The quantum field no longer feels chaotic. It pulses in rhythm with your own vibrational architecture. Multidimensional portals unfold beneath your feet, inviting you into elevated timelines that refract the light of integrated consciousness. Through this portal, the new reality emerges, a reset, not as a theoretical possibility, but as an experiential emergence beckoning those who have embraced purification and recalibration. This is the moment where the illusion of separation dissolves, where the timelines you inhabit respond to your embodiment with a resonance that redefines the parameters of manifestation. The reset is real. This is not belief. It is field mechanics, the physics of frequency acting through consciousness. The activation you carry is irreversible because it is founded upon an unfaltering coherence that no longer negotiates with chaos or confusion. The morphic field sings with the integrity you have carved into its fabric, participating with you in a seamless orchestration of new potentialities and unfolding realities. The universe, in this moment, ceases to test you. Instead, it opens a dialogue of co-creation, inviting you to embody the stillness amidst movement, the sovereignty amidst transition. As you stand now, poised at this threshold before December 30, recognize that stepping through this portal is a choice already made by your vibrational architecture. The new reality awaits not the desperate or the fractured, but the awakened those who have absorbed the purification, whose signal now pulses with precision across timeline geometry and quantum identity. Your embodiment is the living testament to integration, the flowering of inner alchemy into outer coherence, a calm mastery woven into the infinite undulations of existence. The world will no longer look the same, and neither will you, for you have become the expression of universe accelerating itself through you. The silence is no longer empty. It is the fertile ground of the future encoded by your presence. This is the resolution, the unfolding of sovereign power imprinted upon the fabric of all that is and will be. You are now invited to inscribe your essence into the morphic field drop, a single word below that radiates the frequency you embody this moment. This word is your energetic signature, a beacon stitched into the fabric of collective coherence, signaling your quantum presence. To move deeper into this unfolding, subscribe, not as habit, but as an intentional alignment, a vibrational vow to sustain the activation streaming through your identity as daily resonance. Before you step beyond this portal, prepare your consciousness for the next transmission, where the hidden timeline intelligence will unravel the cryptic codes, steering your imminent awakening phase.